Hopefully that's showing up there in the camera nice and clear. This is the fly we're going to be tying today. This is the Copper John. And I always tie it up with this super cheap, looks like this is from Hobby Lobby. And it's just black goose biot. It's used for doing some kind of fabric design or something. And then also I'll be using this Troutman's Enterprise peacock tail, which is what we'll be using up here around the part for the collar. Our thread will be Fire Orange 72 denier uni. We will need some copper wire there for the back section, and our flash up on top. Instead of doing holographic, I'm going to do this straight up just plain ice flash here, just to see what that ends up looking like on there. And the bead that's on here right now is one of these, and it is a jig bomb bead head that what it does is help invert this fly upside down really good, because it's offset from the center line of the hook, and it'll turn any hook basically into a jig. And the hooks, I had the package here just a second ago, but it's a size 12 barbless, no brand. Okay, well now that I got that bead on the hook, I'm going to go ahead and stick it in the vise there and crank it down. As you can see what I mean by it being off center from the center line of that hook. I'm going to go ahead and tie on with my thread here real quick. A couple wraps behind, and then I want to go in front of that bead. Like, oh, I messed up there. I can feel it. There we go. We'll just get that tied in just like that. Couple in front, couple behind. Because whenever this is inverted, your hot spot is on the other side of this fly. So you want to make sure that you keep that kind of nice looking. Nice shiny hot spot for the other side there for the fish to see. So we'll start making our way back here, and we'll grab that goose biot. I dropped it on the floor. Alright, so now I got the goose biot here. I'm just going to trim off a couple of those biots. And I'm going to place one of them one at a time here. And I want them to be, you can go a third or so, I guess you could say, or just over a third of the length of the fly for these tail feathers. And I don't like to try to wrap in there too heavy on this, because the heavier you wrap in, the kind of a rougher transition it'll end up being back there when you go to wrap the copper wire around it. Okay, I need to trim that other one off a little bit because it's just a teeny bit long. Now I'm going to go ahead and tie that copper wire in just like so, trying to blend that shape. Like always, I always talk about whenever I'm making a fly, or tying one I should say, it's always about keeping that certain shape of a silhouette. You know, you don't want it to be all lumpy and weird shaped, but you want it to be nice. And if you noticed, I kind of left just a little bit of red sticking out there in the back behind that copper wire where I have it tied in. And you'll see in a minute, I like to try to leave a little bit of that hot spot orange showing in the back there, just because it makes a nice little hot spot at the back end of this fly too. So I'm going to start here by making counter wraps with this copper wire. This is brassy size copper wire. I don't remember what the brand is, but it's super cheap. Nothing expensive at all. You don't want to make one fly cost $5. And when I'm making these wraps with this copper wire coming out of there, I'm almost making touching wraps. Like they're, I don't know, I'd almost want to say 32nd or 64th of an inch or so apart. They're not quite touching exactly. So that's kind of what I look for in the shape of this fly, is just to have that kind of separated abdomen, kind of weird shape back there. Couple wraps on top, couple wraps underneath, and I like to cut it off with my scissors just because I think it helps keep everything more uniform. Alright, well now I'm going to go ahead and grab that peacock tail right here. I'm going to go ahead and cut off about 3 of these little fibers here on the side. And make sure that I tie them in stem end first. The stem end is the stronger end of the two. Just get them wrapped in there. You know, I should probably make it a little longer so I can trim those off easier. Just like so. Alright. Let me go ahead and get that wrapped down there. Now I want to grab my piece of ice flash here. And I just want to stick it right in the center side here. You want it to be directly behind the bead and straight in line with this fly when you get ready to pull it up over the top. So we'll go back to the front here. We'll grab our peacock. I don't use hackle pliers. I have them, but just don't use them. I'll go ahead and make a few wraps with this until I get a decent sized collar going up here in the front. That's probably going to be it right there. Started running out of feather on that one. That's where a pair of hackle pliers would come in handy so you don't slip. But that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and bring this shiny tinsel up over the top. Just like so. Keeping it straight in line. Twice in front, twice behind. Trim her off. We'll go ahead and grab our whip finish now, and we'll make a nice little hot spot collar right up here in the front, like so. Go ahead and trim that off, and then we'll grab that UV cement, and we'll put just a little tiny drop back here on this back section to fill in between all them wires, and also help get that what do you call it, fire orange thread kind of glowing a little bit better there. And then we'll just hit it with the torch. See how that kind of shines and lights up through there, but without it, it just kind of looks coppery. That's the fly right there. My version of the Copper John. Simple, easy. The only thing it's missing really is the set of legs coming out of it. But this variation works rather well. It's a heavy nymph. It gets down. In the wintertime, it's kind of difficult to use this in the lower flows. So you may want to tie it with a little bit lighter materials, like maybe a thinner size copper wire, or even make it in a smaller size in general. This is a size 12. And you can get this all the way up to, I don't know, probably 20, 22, providing you can get the size materials to make it look right. Well, thank you guys for watching, liking, and subscribing.